Okay, so during the day that this recording was made, HP decided to actually do a reveal for their second gen reverb headset. And I think that this headset's actually really interesting and something actually kind of special, at least given, the Windows Mixed Reality space of headsets. This is some very exciting news in regards to that. Basically, in a nutshell, the Reverb Gen 2 is the first Gen 2 mixed reality headset, and personally, this is a very good thing to see, because it means that Microsoft hasn't forgotten about Windows Mixed Reality, and they're sticking with it, which I really, really like. But first, we're going to be going over some changes between the first generation and the second generation of Mixed Reality, and then later in the video, I will go over some of the differences between the first and the second Reverb, or just talking about the Reverb in general. So, the first change, and it's the most immediately apparent change, is the added cameras. There are now 4 cameras on the headset, the 2 on the front, which we're kind of used to, and there are now 2 of them on each side of the headset. And this is a very good change, because the tracking isn't always the best on Gen 1 with the 2 cameras. It works, but it could be better. So I'm glad to see that they added a couple cameras to make this, the tracking much better. They also decided to have new controllers for Mixed Reality Gen 2, and these are really interesting. So their design is more reminiscent of the Rift S, and personally I like that change. I've, had the ability to use Rift S before, and I like their controllers. So this, in my eyes, is a very positive change, but I know that some people like, the Gen 1 Mixed Reality controllers more. And also, as you can see, the trackpad was removed in exchange for a couple of buttons on each controller. Personally, I like this change. I like having a dedicated button, because, let's be honest, before this, people probably did not use the trackpad unless, the game didn't natively support Mixed Reality. That you can also see some other changes. I'm wondering if they're going to be using new batteries, but it's not really confirmed how they're going to be handling power. It also seems like they changed the grip buttons to something, more smooth. I'm not entirely sure how to say it, but yeah, it's a thing. But what's really interesting about these controllers is the compatibility. In a nutshell, the Reverb Gen 2 is not compatible with Generation 1 controllers, or Gen 2 headsets aren't compatible with Gen 1 controllers. However, if you have a Gen 1 headset, you can pick up Gen 2 controllers and they will be compatible. Personally, I really like that, because I'm probably going to be stuck with my headset for a while, because I'm broke. Okay, so now we're going to be talking about Gen 2 Reverb. Now, the headset, this is the most interesting thing about the headset, is it was made in affiliation with Valve, and it's almost immediately apparent, that it was made in affiliation with Valve. But, for example, the lenses were, made by Valve, which is nice. The field of view is the same as, the Reverb 1, but the lenses should be higher quality. They should have less of a blur around the edges, should have a much better sweet spot on them, which is very nice to see. But also, probably what most people are excited for, or at least what I think most people will be excited for in terms of this headset, is the audio. Now, these look like they were directly ripped from the Index and put into Mixed Reality, and I know that a lot of people really love Valve's built-in audio solution for the Index, so I'm excited for it personally. However, I haven't got to try an Index yet, so I can't really say as of now if that's a good thing or not, for me at least. However, given, the feedback that a bunch of other people have made, it's probably a really good thing. And another thing that I probably should note is the display. Now, it's the same resolution as the Reverb Gen 1, which is 4K per eye, which, by the way, is awesome, but it's going to be a different display, or a different display type from the Reverb Gen 1. Supposedly, it's going to fix some of the issues with the first generation's display. It should be a little higher quality. That's pretty much all I know about it. The last thing I want to talk about in terms of the Reverb Gen 2 is the price, and at first I was a little about the price, but after thinking about it for a little bit, I think it is a really good middle ground between the Rift S and the Index. But my first impressions about the price was that I wasn't entirely sure if it was a good price because it was around the same, or, you know, it's more expensive than the Rift S. However, I kind of realized, okay, this has a much higher resolution display, and it also has a 90 hertz, you know, refresh rate, so yeah, there's an obvious bump or greater quality in this headset than the Rift S will provide. So overall, I think that this is a great price for this headset, and it's a good middle ground. So overall, I'm very pleased with this announcement. I'm very glad to see that Microsoft is sticking with mixed reality and they haven't just abandoned the idea of having their own headsets. I'm wondering if they're going to support base stations. They haven't announced it, so I doubt that they will at this point, but if they were to do that, I would really like to see that. And about the controllers, I really do think I'm going to pick one of those up if I can scramble enough money to purchase one. So, or two. Yeah.